Welcome back to the main events of Italian diplomatic activity abroad. We are close to Israel in these sad days in which the pain for the unacceptable and inhuman massacre of October the 7th, with the return of the bodies of the hostages, is worsening. This was underlined by the President of the Republic, Sergio Mattarella, on February 19th, during the meeting with the President of the State of Israel, Isaac Herzog. We defend Israel's right to security. If it is true that there is no peace without security, the Italian head of state underlined, it is also true that can be no security without peace. To have real peace in the Middle East, we must ensure a concrete prospect for the future for the Palestinians, obviously excluding Hamas. The day before, the head of state went on an official visit to Montenegro. It was President Mattarella himself who reported after the meeting with Montenegrin President Jakov Milatovic of a broad and operational dialogue and friendship and collaboration between Montenegro and Italy. In the framework of historic relations of collaboration and affection between Montenegro and Italy, explained the head of state, we have intense economic relations and we can increase the forms of collaboration in strategically important advanced sectors such as technology, which can see investment and collaborations between our countries. But the Ukrainian issue has been in the spotlight this week on the eve of the 3 years since the Russian aggression in Kiev. On Monday 17th in Paris, the summit convened by French President Macron met after Trump's phone call to Putin and the announcement of ceasefire talks between the USA and Russia with the exclusion of Ukraine and the European Union. In the presence of the British Strammer, the Dutch Prime Minister Schoof, the German Chancellor Scholz, the Polish Prime Minister Tusk and the Spanish Prime Minister Sanchez, as well as the NATO Secretary General Rutte and the EU leaders Costa and von der Leyen, the Prime Minister Meloni, as far as we know, reiterated her doubts about the format of a Paris summit with the exclusion of many countries and about the sending of European troops to Ukraine, underlying instead the need to pursue paths that include the involvement of the United States. On the evening of February 18th, after the first US-Russia meeting for the ceasefire in Ukraine, Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani took part in a telephone conversation with the quintet foreign ministers, United States, Italy, United Kingdom, France and Germany, on Ukraine, which was also attended by the EU High Representative Kaja Kallas. The conversation was proposed by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who wanted to inform his European colleagues of the outcome of the meeting in Riyadh. This was the start of the first direct contacts between the two countries, useful according to Rubio to test the Russian side on a real desire to sit down at the negotiating table on Ukraine in order to possibly start a negotiating process with the involvement of all interested parties. In this regard, Rubio stated that US desire to involve and keep all the actors, Ukrainian and European, updated. During the phone call, Tajani expressed appreciation for the initiative of Secretary of State Rubio, confirming the importance of close coordination between the United States and Europe on the Ukrainian dossier and on the issues of European security. And the head of the Farnesina returned to the topic of Thursday 20th on the sidelines of an initiative by Forza Italia.
Noi siamo convinti.
We are convinced that we must build a path of peace with the United States, with Ukraine and with Europe together to guarantee the security of both Kiev and the entire European Union in the future, and this path can only be built with a strong relationship between Italy and the United States. Of course, Italy is part of Europe.
Stati Uniti, naturalmente Italia è parte dell'Europa.
On Wednesday 19, Undersecretary of Foreign Affairs Maria Tripodi concluded her mission in Asia on the diplomacy of growth in Bangladesh. The Undersecretary met with representatives of the Italian system and our community. During the meeting with the Bangladeshi Foreign Minister Tauhid Hossain, the Undersecretary expressed the hope for a consolidation of our partnership in traditional sectors and a deepening in those with high added value, such as the green transition. Meeting in the Minister of Expatriate Asif Narzul, Tripodi recalled the priority given by the Italian government to legal migration and to the radical fight against all forms of trafficking, exploitation or abuse. The mission to Dhaka finally concluded with a courtesy visit to the Prime Minister and Nobel Peace Prize winner Muhammad Yunus. On Wednesday, the Council of Ministers, on the proposal of President Giorgia Meloni and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation Antonio Tajani, resolved to continue international missions and development cooperation initiatives and to launch new international missions for 2025. And in the same meeting, the executive approved the PA decree, which authorizes the expenditure of 2 million euros to adjust the salaries of contracted personnel hired abroad. A further step, Tajani declared, to improve and make our diplomatic network abroad increasingly efficient. Another Palestinian child with cancer arrived at Rome Fiumicino airport on a flight from Cairo on Tuesday evening as part of the operation that last week allowed 14 young patients to be welcomed into our country. With this group, the number of patients from Gaza transferred to our country reaches 89 as part of the Food for Gaza initiative, thanks to which Italy has been on the front line with its humanitarian commitment since the early stages of the crisis in the Middle East. On the occasion of the 10th session of the United Nations Working Group on Information and Communication Technology Security, the Italian representation at the UN organized an event on February 18, 2025 in New York dedicated to the theme Quantum Technology and Cybersecurity, Opportunities and Challenges. The United Nations proclaimed 2025 as the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. The meeting was promoted together with Ghana in the context of the partnership carried out with the Mattei Plan. And that's all for now. Thanks for your attention and stay tuned.